Hours after I'm writing this, Jürgen Klopp will stand on the Anfield touchline and lead the Reds as a manager of Liverpool Football Club for the very last time. After 9 years of Merseyside, the German manager has created his fair share of memories, experiences, and stories. You'll see many of the examples in the coming days, and you've likely seen many already. Many of which are more dramatic, more well put together, and overall better than the tribute you'll see today. In the past 9 years, Jürgen didn't write one story. He wrote millions, because that's the amount of supporters that he's impacted around the world. Millions. Millions of fans. Millions of memories. Millions of stories. This is one story. This is my story. Brendan Rodgers was relieved of his duties as manager of Liverpool Football Club on the 4th of October 2015. It's always difficult to leave a legacy at a club the size of Liverpool. Perhaps he'd be remembered for the title race the Reds disembarked on in the 2013-14 season, only to come short to Man City. Besides that, it was borderline mid-table finishes or in the Europa League range. Hardly the accolades that the Red side of Merseyside were used to, as they reminisced about club legend Steven Gerrard hoisting the UEFA Champions League trophy into the Turkish sky on that fateful night in Istanbul in 2005. Liverpool needed something new. 4 days later, on the 8th of October, 2015, that something new is announced, as former Borussia Dortmund and Mainz manager, Jürgen Klopp. I was 10 years old when this happened. I remember being on the phone with my grandmother while learning about Rodgers' sacking. I remember knowing nothing about Klopp. However, I was 10. If someone wasn't involved with Liverpool, chances are I knew nothing about them. There's one thing I knew the least about. No amount of football knowledge or time supporting Liverpool could make me know this either. Nothing could have possibly prepared me, or any other Liverpool fan for that matter, for the journey that was ahead of us all. I was born in September 2005, around 4 months after the miracle of Istanbul. Before Klopp's appointment, Liverpool FC's achievements that have taken place in my lifetime consisted of an FA Cup victory in 2006, a charity shield that same year, and a League Cup in 2012. However, my earliest Liverpool memory is Martin Skrtel's last-minute equaliser against Arsenal in December 2014. Effectively, this was the start of the road for me. Klopp's first season was in 2015-16. The season that started for Liverpool with a 1-0 win over Stoke City thanks to an 86-minute winner from Felipe Coutinho. However, this season began for me when I unwrapped my Jordan Henderson home shirt from its Soccer.com package on my 10th birthday. Rodgers was still in charge at this point, and Klopp would take charge weeks later. I didn't realize this at the time, but Klopp would say that the key to achievement at Liverpool would be from going from doubters to believers. Although 2015-16 doesn't come to mind when the great seasons of the Klopp era are mentioned, this is when the seed of changing the mindset that would ultimately brand Liverpool as the ultimate mentality monsters was planted. The fans didn't see this when Klopp insisted on celebrating a 2-2 draw against West Brom that would go on to see them go to 9th in the table in December 2015. And the players didn't see it when Klopp insisted on having a celebration that every player must attend after losing the 2016 Europa League final 3-1 to Sevilla. But Klopp didn't care. He entered each day with a smile on his face, regardless of what was thought of him. Maybe he was the only one who knew this would all pay off one day. Regardless of whether or not he did, it won't be long until the world of football will not have a choice but to notice what's happening at Liverpool Football Club. Liverpool finished 8th in the Premier League after Klopp's first season. The progression of the club was something that was going to be one step at a time. The 2016-17 season was dedicated to doing something that had not been done at Liverpool since 3 years earlier in 2013. Qualify for Champions League football. 3 years may not seem like a long time, but Liverpool fans will tell you that with the up and down nature of the club this time, any form of ascending back into football and royalty was progress. The transfers of 2016-17 saw many moves both in and out of the club, and the moves were seen as gambles by many. Kolo Touré, Martin Skrtel, Joe Allen, Christian Benteke, and Mauro Balotelli were gone. Joel Matip, Loris Karius, Sadio Mane, Ragnar Klavan, and Jorginho Wijnaldum all arrived. Some of the most trusted players from recent years were now departing. Some uncut gems who have yet to prove themselves will be taking their places. There's an uncertain energy around Liverpool. However, it didn't stick around for the end of the season. Liverpool finished fourth in the league after the 2016-17 season and were back in the Champions League. What would happen next would change everything. 17-18 is perhaps the most critical season of the Jürgen Klopp era. The summer would see the arrival of Mohamed Salah from AS Roma, who would go on to score 44 goals in all competitions in his first season in the Premier League. Salah was combined with Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino to form what is perhaps the most lethal front three in all of Europe. Loris Karius kept the most clean sheets in the Champions League, leading Liverpool to the final. They'd eventually fall 3-1 to Real Madrid, and I remember how much that loss stung. But there's a reason that it stung. I, like many other Liverpool fans, genuinely believed that Liverpool were going to win that game. I thought, in my heart, we would be the ones to stand in Real Madrid's path for a third consecutive Champions League trophy. Our defenders would be the ones that kept Ronaldo, Bale, and Benzema quiet, a task that teams across Europe have been struggling to do for years. I don't think I've ever been so nervous watching a football game to this day. I was just a 12-year-old kid, and I didn't know it was possible that football could make that much of an emotional impact on somebody until that fateful night in Kiev. That sense of genuine belief, hope, and pride was the Jürgen Klopp effect. And it may have led to pain on that day in May of 2018, but the pain didn't linger for very long. The pain of the loss turned into something else. Anticipation? Hope? I don't know exactly what it was. I didn't know at the time, and I don't really know to this day. But I did know that this was only the beginning. The 2018-19 season is what cemented Liverpool as where we as fans felt we deserved to be all this time. It wasn't enough to be told the next few years were going to be good. As Liverpool fans, we've been told that countless times in the past, and have yet to see it pay off in the way in which we've hoped. But this time around was different. Jürgen Klopp has turned us from doubters to believers. The energy of Anfield was electric and pure. It was this way during Divock Origi's last-minute winner against Everton. It was this way after Divock Origi's last-minute winner against Newcastle. It was this way when Divock Origi made it 4-0 against Barcelona at Anfield to send Liverpool back to the Champions League final, and it reached an all-time high when Divock Origi made it 2-0 in the Champions League final to seal Liverpool's 6th European Cup and first one in 14 years. Moral of the story, name your kids after Divock Origi. This was the first Champions League title for Liverpool in my lifetime. Prior to 2018, Liverpool hadn't made a UCL final since 2007, 11 years at the time. 3 full seasons of the Klopp era later, and they made 2 in a row. What they had done had not been done in over a decade. The only way to restore the belief in a football club to maximum capacity. Win the UEFA Champions League. Liverpool finished a point off the Premier League title, but they did what hadn't been done since 2014. They were engulfed in a Premier League title race, and they brought it to the final day. What changed besides the belief in the club? When the rest of Europe was spending money in a manic fashion, Klopp didn't break the £30 million range for most of the stars that flourished in his team. The first names on the team sheet were Mo Salah from Roma, Sadio Mane from Southampton, and Andy Robertson, the £8 million left back from Hull. Sure, we splashed the cash a bit with the arrivals of Van Dijk and Alisson for 90 and 80 million euros respectively, but the only reason Liverpool were able to attract players of that caliber is because Jürgen Klopp had built Liverpool from the ground up. He had created a club that was on the verge of folding over financially just a few years before his arrival into a family, in one which is reaching new highs in a footballing sense. In Klopp's own words, he is the normal one, and he's exactly what Liverpool needed. A proud, working-class, authentic city with somebody who is, in his own words, a totally normal guy. At the helm of not just the football club, but in emerging as a symbol of the city's values. A representation of what Liverpool believes, but not merely an out-of-reach symbol, but rather a well-integrated, integral part of the community that is the city of Liverpool. He understood what it meant to be the manager of Liverpool Football Club. He understands that he is a steward to the greats before him. It was a match made in heaven, and a process that will go on to reach a new level of divinity in the following months. At this point, Liverpool were on the top of the footballing world, and they didn't fancy leaving anytime soon. The start of the season was marked by a UEFA Super Cup victory against Europa League winners Chelsea, a match that is best remembers for the goalkeeping heroics of new signing Adrian and the enthusiastic proclamation of his name that was followed by Klopp. By the time December rolled round, Liverpool defeated Brazilian side Flamengo to secure their first ever FIFA Club World Cup, thanks to a Roberto Firmino winner in extra time. All of these were adding momentum to the unstoppable force that was Liverpool Football Club. It looked like nothing could get in the way of them. Until COVID hit and football stopped for the first time since World War II. All was Liverpool on the brink of their first ever Premier League title and first league title in 3 decades. Football did eventually resume in June, after the 3 longest months in the history of the world, and Liverpool's heavily anticipated Merseyside derby at Goodison Park ended in 0-0 stalemate. And it wasn't until the 25th of June when Liverpool were crowned champions, after Man City drew Chelsea 1-1. After 30 years of waiting, Jürgen Klopp had brought Liverpool to the promised land. Liverpool FC were Premier League champions. It's always the little things I remember from the Klopp era the best. It's playing curbsies with my little brother at the 2019 Champions League final. Happiness at an all-time high. It's kicking a ball into my backyard Forza net while I'm managing our legs of Mo Salah, Bobby Firmino, and maybe even Willian, who was made an honorary red the day Liverpool clinched the title. The club era defined the formative years of my childhood. Though I grew as a person and grew from a kid to an adult, I still have that childlike enthusiasm instilled deeply within me, and a lot of it can be attributed to the energy that was brought to the club by Jürgen Klopp. The 2020-2021 season is one that was deemed a season to forget by many Liverpool fans. I personally think it is one of the most important, as it perfectly epitomizes Klopp. The season after being crowned champions is never going to be easy, no matter what the circumstance. There are immense expectations, and many clubs fold under this pressure. An injury to Virgil van Dijk after an attempted murder from Everton keeper Jordan Pickford threw a wrench into Liverpool's season in just October. Liverpool were able to hold on to a top spot in the league until Christmas, but things took a turn for the worse in the new year. Name a Liverpool player, they were injured that season. Reece Williams and Nat Phillips were starting every game, and they put in some tremendous efforts. We all remember that game against Leipzig in the Champions League round of 16. It must be said. However, that didn't change the fact that the squad was stretched to a threadbare status. Liverpool ended up having to rely on 20 different centre-back pairings throughout the course of the season. That simply doesn't work in the Premier League. This was seen when Liverpool lost 4 consecutive league games in February 2021, 3 of them being at Anfield. The fortress of Anfield that stood without being penetrated for years had fallen. Anfield was a shell of its former self, without the world-class atmosphere the Coppites brought week in and week out. I think this season says so much about Klopp, because this was perhaps the lowest point in his time at Liverpool. And even in times this dire, he found a way to prevail. On the 16th of May, 2021, Liverpool were playing West Brom away from home and needed 3 points to ensure Champions League football next season, or to have a chance to ensure Champions League football next season. It was 1-1 in the 5th minute of stoppage time, and Alisson Becker went out for a corner. The delivery met the noggin of the goalkeeper, and Liverpool lived to see another day. They finished 3rd and made it to Champions League when that very feat would have looked impossible just months before. Weeks before his goal, Alisson's father passed away in a tragic accident in his native Brazil. Alisson would later go on to say how much Klopp helped him in that dark time, and that was seen in the two embraced on the pitch after Alisson's goal. Alisson had been through hell over the past couple of weeks, and Klopp suffered the loss of his mother months before. The two embracing in an empty stadium in Birmingham after a goalkeeper scored in the 95th minute to ensure Champions League football for the defending champions says all you need to know about the Klopp era at Liverpool. It may be delivered in a way you've never seen it before, but Klopp's medium is simply being human. What made that moment between him and Alisson stand out is because we saw it. Modern football seems to have no soul at times, but we all witnessed one of the most pure and human displays of gratitude and strength, and at times dismay. We witness it on a football pitch. The reality is, I know for a fact, countless of those moments have been happening behind the scenes throughout the entire club era. It's what success was built on. It's what gives his players the ability to achieve what even themselves may have deemed impossible. Alisson's header, and the entire bizarre nature of lockdown football, taught us that anything is possible. And as Liverpool fans, Klopp showed us that through unity and strength, nothing is impossible. The following years saw many reminders of the Liverpool we've all grown to know in recent years. The FA Cup and UCL final highs of the 2021-22 season, followed by the 2022-23 Charity Shield, and excitement building around some new faces into the club. 2023-24 was always going to be a rebuilding season, after the 5th place Premier League finish of 2022-23. And a successful rebuild it was. Liverpool had a redrew in midfield, We're playing attacking, attractive football again, and we're back in title race. Klopp even picked up another League Cup for the collection after fielding a lineup of mainly youngsters against Chelsea in the final. The announcement for Jürgen Klopp to depart Liverpool is one that shocked the footballing world. With the way of the media these days, we usually have an idea of who's going where in the world of football months before it actually happens. However, with Klopp, nobody saw it coming. Klopp said that he feels he's no longer able to do his job anymore the way he would like to, and because of that, he's stepping down. This in itself is a final act of humility from Jürgen Klopp. So many other figures in the world of sport will push themselves beyond their own limits and drag those around them down, whether or not they realize it. Klopp's departure is in tune with something he's always been aware of, that he's a part of an organization, of a family that is greater than he is. He is aware of the history of Liverpool Football Club, and he is always committed to putting the desires of the supporters first. In his words, Liverpool shot for the moon and landed in the stars during his final season. A season that was always going to be about rebuilding, and puts Liverpool in an incredibly promising position. In his own words when he joined 9 years ago, "It's not important what people think when you come in, but what they think when you leave." He said that in his famous From Doubters to Believers message in his first press conference during his unveiling at the club back in 2015. He was a man with a plan. A man who believes in everything he does and got an entire city and global community to believe with him. He has certainly left the club in a much better place than when he found it, and anybody would see taking over from Jürgen Klopp at the Liverpool Football Club as a privilege. Klopp's departure is so much more than my favorite football club's manager leaving for so many different reasons. I was 10 when Klopp joined. I'm now 18. The memories that Klopp created defined my childhood. I remember my dad pointing out how Klopp's glasses broke after celebrating Almilana's winner against Norwich City in 2016. I remember, instead of numbering my notebook pages with actual numbers in school, I wrote the name of the Liverpool player whose shirt number corresponds with it. I remember telling everyone I laid eyes on after the 4-0 game against Barcelona about the magical antics of Trent Alexander-Arnold and Divock Origi, regardless of whether or not they watch football or were even listening. I remember wearing my Origi shirt to school every day, to the point I can't wear it anymore because of how delicate the details have become. In 2 weeks, I will graduate from high school. However, that's not even the biggest change that will happen in my life this month. I've been to new schools, I've made new friends, I've gone through new ranks of life. That I can deal with. What I can't fathom is there will only be one more game in which I will see Klopp grinning ear to ear with his shiny veneers on the touchline in a Liverpool match. Liverpool has always been my life, and that will never change. Klopp has become a father figure to me, just like how he has with countless other Liverpool fans. And no offense my actual dad, but I think you understand. Klopp's values of belief, unity, and perseverance didn't only impact the players of the Liverpool Football Club. He set a moral example for the rest of the world. The memories I've experienced and lessons I've learned from this man are simply invaluable. And I know for a fact there are millions of stories that parallel mine. Again, this is just my experience, and there's nobody else I would rather have shaped it than Jürgen Norbert Klopp, the normal one. In moments when the occasion transcends the abilities of words, I have 2 more. I've said over 3,000 words so far, but they can all be summed up with 2. 2 words for all the emotions I've been through in the past 9 years, all the memories I've had throughout the purest years of my life, and everything I've seen value in that I will carry with me for the rest of my days. And those 2 words are what follow. Danke, Jürgen.
Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you.